Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic day so far. And yeah, let's see what we have here in the chat. We have Brooklyn, Proxy, Critty. We have Major, Weather Nature, Brome, Northeast Weather, Caden, Johnny, and everyone else in the chat who I may have forgotten to welcome, or if you are just watching and not chatting, glad to have you here. Hopefully you're having a great day so far. Alrighty, let's go ahead and dive on into this. If I can find the right scene, that is. There it is. Everything's good to go. I'll make sure that is good to go as well. Alrighty, we are good to go. So we've got a tornado warning that just got issued out here across southeastern South Dakota. I was about to go live anyways at the top of the hour at 4 p.m., but decided to go live a little bit sooner due to this tornado warning. And also we'll have the SPC updating here momentarily for today to see if they end up upgrading to a moderate 4 out of 5 for today's risk area or not. It's kind of 50-50 on if they will or not, but either way, we're looking at a very significant day for severe weather, a day where you need to be very much hyper weather aware, and we could see a few strong to intense long track tornadoes across our main risk area today. So let's go ahead and switch over here. I want to make sure I have everything good to go. Did you guys hear that beep or not? I'm gonna say you didn't, but it says you did, but I don't think you did. But let's go ahead and go over to this here. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm going to keep the beeping muted because I actually have the NASCAR race on the side, because the NASCAR race today has actually been extremely entertaining. So we're going to be dual tasking it, both covering and watching a NASCAR race. And by the time our peak tornado threat begins, that race will be over. Our peak tornado threat today is, well, our main window is from 6 p.m. all the way till about midnight Eastern, so a good 6-hour window. But our absolute peak is probably going to be kind of two peaks, probably right before those storms go fully upscale, closer to 7 o'clock, and then maybe another peak closer to 9 o'clock. So generally, just the main window for tornadoes today is from 6 p.m. to midnight Eastern time. But yeah, we do have a tornado warning right now here in southeastern South Dakota. So make sure you are in your safe spot if you are in that active tornado warning. And we do already have our tornado watch out from the Storm Prediction Center. We already have a pretty decent probability watch. It's not very high end, but it is a pretty decent tornado watch here. 70-50 tornado watch. which is considered a high probability tornado watch because, as you can see here, well, it says high, so it's a high probability watch. So I do think tornadoes are going to be a very, very big problem for today, but I do think today's risk is just as big as tomorrow in terms of widespread severe weather and significant severe weather. Tomorrow may be a little bit bigger of a peak intensity tornado threat. Like we may have a better chance for intense to violent tornadoes tomorrow. But we're really still looking at the same ordeal. Both today and tomorrow could be big time tornado outbreaks and big time widespread severe weather outbreaks. Brooklyn, no, I think you're good. You're in the marginal, so just maybe an isolated storm could fire around your area. But I really don't expect anything across Oklahoma much today. If we do see stuff across Oklahoma, it's likely to be the southern side and the western side of Oklahoma. That's the area I'm watching in Oklahoma today. But it's very conditional risk down there. Really, the main area for severe weather today will be focused right up in here. I think will be where our primary risk for severe storms will be today. I think that's where we have our biggest problem. So, yeah, let's go to take a look at, let me see here. Sorry, I thought we got the SPC update. That's just something different. I actually want to show you guys the mesoscale discussions first. So we have 3 MCDs out, 4 actually, if you count the one in Florida for some reason. But for our main risk area, we have 3. We have our primary MCD that already warranted that tornado watch to be issued. And that is for the potential of a few tornadoes, a few strong, maybe even 1 or 2 intense tornadoes, possibly 1 long tract being possible in this red area here. And also that same potential further to the south, but the damaging wind threat is highest on this particular mesoscale discussion, up to 90 mile an hour winds, as well as the potential for up to 3.5-inch hail. Then we also have our mesoscale discussion down in Florida. You can see that. I mean, just some isolated severe hail. And then maybe the chance for a tornado or 2, 1 strong, as well as 60 mile an hour winds and 1.5-inch hail. And then we also have our newest mesoscale discussion right here. So this is for the kind of our southern main risk area out here in northern Kansas, southern Nebraska. A little bit more conditional going into Kansas, but we really should see, I wouldn't really call this too conditional. I would say the intense tornado threat is conditional here. The chance for EF3 tornadoes or greater is conditional here, but we're likely to see a few tornadoes, at least 1 or 2 strong, likely to see 2 to 3-inch hail, and likely to see 60 to 75 mile per hour wind gusts in this location here. Again, we're waiting on the SPC to update. Today's risk is borderline moderate. If we take a look here real quick, I actually want to go, whoops, all over the place. This is our probabilities today. We've got a 15% hatched area out in Nebraska and Iowa, and actually a secondary 5 hatched out in Michigan. But the main risk definitely out here in Nebraska. And you can see they have shifted all those probabilities further to the south, like I talked about in yesterday's live stream. The 10% south, the 2% south, the 5% south, the 15% south, everything came down south. Why? Because our warm sector isn't going to go as far north as originally forecasted. So everything, therefore, is further to the south. So that person in the stream yesterday who was in southeastern South Dakota, you still are going to get severe weather, maybe even the potential for a few tornadoes, possibly a strong tornado somewhere in southeastern South Dakota, but I doubt that will be over your house, obviously. But the main risk for strong to intense long track tornadoes is now almost fully out of South Dakota. It's almost fully out of South Dakota. Damaging winds, I'm pretty surprised we don't have a 30% SIG-2 here. I would really be thinking we'd have a 30% SIG-2 wind risk in this red area. I really thought we would have a 30% SIG-2 for today for damaging winds upwards of 100 miles per hour, because I do think that is a possibility. for our wind risk. And also a little surprised, honestly, I think today could get away with a moderate for damaging winds. I think a 45 sig 2 wind risk is definitely possible for today. But they haven't pulled the trigger yet. Who knows? Maybe they will pull the trigger here at the next update that comes out any minute. We also have a very large hail risk today. Some hailstones upwards of 4 inches in diameter possible today across that red hatched area. Also a little surprised we don't have a SIG 2 area for the potential of those hailstones being closer to 4 inches in diameter, a bit higher confidence there. So the SPC just doesn't seem to have enough confidence in the very significant high-end hazards for today, but I definitely think today could end up performing as a moderate for tornadoes, wind, and hail. I think all 3 hazards actually could perform as a moderate for today. And then tomorrow, we already have a day 2 moderate risk for severe weather. They issued this at the very early morning update. Very early this morning, they issued that moderate risk for severe weather for our day 2 outlook for tomorrow. We have a 15 SIG 2 tornado risk out for portions of Kansas, Nebraska, and Missouri. And then actually even a 10% SIG 2 further into south central Kansas there. Damaging winds is a 30% SIG 1. Also think tomorrow could end up going moderate for wind and hail. It's actually already moderate for hail. I actually didn't know that. I'm not going to lie. It's already a moderate risk for hail tomorrow, so we could see hailstones upwards of 5 inches in diameter tomorrow in Kansas and Nebraska. So we're actually at moderate for tornado and hail already for tomorrow, and I think we could get a moderate for wind as well, just depending on their highest confidence. I think once we go into tomorrow, there's going to be enough confidence to upgrade to a moderate risk for damaging winds on the wherever the highest corridor for damaging wind potential may be. And then we have our level 2 out of 5 slight risk for Tuesday, and just a small little hatched area back there in Texas. So Tuesday definitely could be pretty impactful damaging wind-wise, but not really tornado-wise. And that is really your main thing there. We'll look at your tornado watch again for those who haven't seen it. There it is. That's where it's in effect. We will get a new tornado watch to the south here in probably an hour or so, and that will extend into the probably a few of the northern counties there. Probably a few northern counties. I wouldn't be surprised in Kansas to get into that tornado watch. It could just be the first few northern counties, or it could be 2 counties deep into Kansas, but I do think it will stretch into Kansas at least a little bit there for that upcoming tornado watch. But for this tornado watch, there it is on your screen there. And then for probabilities, like I said, we are at a high threat for tornadoes, 70% chance for 2 or more tornadoes, and the SPC maintained enhanced for today. I disagree with that, but it is what it is. And a 50% chance 1 or more of those are EF2 plus. 60-50 for wind, and also a 60-50 for hail there as well. Let's see here. The full outlook isn't out yet, so can't see the probabilities. But I do know that they have maintained enhanced. And let me see. That does look a little bit different. What did they change with that? I think they expanded the enhanced a little bit, maybe a tiniest bit further to the north into South Dakota. That looks a bit different there. So this is the old outlook. We'll get a new one here shortly. Like I said, I've seen the categorical risk, but not the probabilities yet. Let's see. I think EF3 is possible today. Yeah, I agree. Oh, look at that. So that's what they did. They added a 45 sig 1. Well, there you go. And the, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that 15 sig tour is further to the southwest by quite a bit. So they've added a 45 sig 1 risk out here in South Dakota, southern Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, northeastern Nebraska for the potential of still looking at the potential for 80 to 90 mile an hour winds, but a little bit higher confidence now in that potential. So I wouldn't rule out even a gust over 90 miles per hour today. Hail risk maintained 30% SIG 1. Yeah, it is what it is, but I definitely think they could get away with upgrading to a moderate for both wind and hail and Tor. That wind risk is a bit further to the north. Yeah, you could see that new outlook, that 45 sig wind, fairly far to the north here, which is interesting. I really would think the highest damaging wind potential today definitely is north, but maybe not that far north. I think that placement of a 45 sig is a little bit too far north, in my opinion. I don't think a high risk will happen tomorrow, no. Damaging wind probability has been increased ahead of this cluster, so it's literally only for this singular cluster. That's strange. I don't agree with that. I agree with the 45 sig one, but I do not agree with the placement of that. That placement is not the best in my opinion. I think it should be further to the south. I agree with it being in northern Iowa, southern Minnesota, southeast or South Dakota, like right in here. But I think it should also extend further down south, maybe just north of Omaha. I think a 45 sig one in there would be better in my personal opinion. Further south, sig 2 tornado area was considered. Oh, wow. So they considered going moderate for tornadoes. A sig 2 tornado area was considered across eastern Nebraska, west central Iowa, given the presence of STP of 4 to 7, possibly overlapping with discrete supercells. However, numerous storms are expected ahead of the cold front, with expected interactions casting uncertainty regarding the longevity, how long storms could last of more discrete storms. Regardless, a volatile environment is in place via RAP. Could support a higher end tornado threat this evening across southeastern Nebraska, southwestern Iowa, should supercells remain more discrete. So, yeah, it makes sense why they didn't pull the SIG 2, but I do think a SIG 2 is needed today because that's the ceiling, right? That's the ceiling for today. Today's ceiling easily could produce an EF3 tornado. If we get a discrete storm in this environment here at 7 o'clock, maybe 8 Eastern, we easily could get an intense tornado out of that. But the thing is, it looks like storms might grow upscale too fast to result in high enough confidence to issue that SIG 2. So, yeah, we're right on that edge of SIG 2. We're right on the edge of a moderate for today. Today easily could perform as a moderate, or it could easily perform as a high-end enhanced, like what they have right now. Either way, don't get too caught up with the outlook for today. It's definitely important, but don't focus too much on, since there's no moderate, nothing's going to happen. That's not going to be the case. The overall idea of today remains the same, just confidence is a little bit lower, according to the SPC, than what maybe I was originally thinking. All right, we'll take a look at WOFIS, because Caden's been talking about that. Let's see these WOFIS runs. This is WOFIS 17, or actually 1930Z. Let's go to the 19 flat Z here. Yeah, all of them have a lot of updraft helicity tracks. But you could see a lot of them are more sloppy but a few have some more embedded supercell characteristics. So this is definitely more sloppy, for sure. Definitely more sloppy. So yeah, that definitely casts more uncertainty than like what the HRRR casts. A little bit more uncertainty on if we'll actually get supercells to be enough discrete to produce tornadoes or not. Or I should say intense tornadoes. I think tornadoes are going to happen regardless of storm mode today. It's just the question of whether storms are discrete enough for tornadoes to be intense or stronger. And you could see high confidence there. High confidence there at 8 o'clock that we will have uh, very much favorable environment for intense to violent tornadoes, but it all pins to storm mode, which I do think our storm mode will be messy enough to promote little to no violent tornado threat today, but I do think we could see potentially a intense tornado threat from any discrete storms that do form. Just a really good environment there. Let me go to HRRR again. I'm also curious to see how long these storms hold off for, because HRRR says they're firing now, which doesn't look to be too much of the case. We do have some bubbles going up here, but no notable, at least from what I could tell, no notable explosions of storms yet. Yeah, I don't expect the worst of our storms until 6 o'clock or later. But we do have a book and vortex here. So this storm is very much attempting to produce a tornado near Tripp in South Dakota. So get to your safe spot. The only real tornado threat with this is on that far northern end. So right in here. Right over Tripp. But also further to the south, this is a big damaging wind threat. 70 plus mile-an-hour winds there. See what we have back here. Okay. Got a new mesoscale discussion here. Out in Colorado for the potential of hail and damaging winds. A severe thunderstorm watch may be needed here in the future. So just stay weather aware there. Tornado threat is very low with this, but I wouldn't rule out a tornado towards the latter half of this storm's lifespan. I think as we go towards, about 2 hours from now, once this gets closer to the Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas border, it could increase with tornado potential. Let's go to new tornado watch here. Yeah, 6050 Tor watch prob right there. So that's pretty good watch prob. That means if tornadoes do form today, there's a pretty good chance they're going to be strong. So a little bit less confidence in tornadoes further to the south, but if storms do fire, this environment may be a bit more favorable for tornadoes down in here compared to up in here. I want to go to mesoanalysis, though, as that is updated. And yeah, you have your hotspot. You definitely have your hotspot. Right out there, southern Nebraska. You definitely have a hotspot for tornado activity today. And I think as the cold front pushes eastward, that should overlap very favorably with eastern Nebraska. I think eastern Nebraska is going to have some pretty rough storms later today. So, yeah, definitely want to be extremely weather aware in this area. I think our worst severe weather will occur out here. That also could be a little bit further to the northeast, too. Also could be all the way out further up to the northeast. Good morning. Lucky's in call, but I haven't muted on y'all's end, so y'all won't be able to hear him. How long here? All right. I'm gonna mute so that way I can still talk to you guys. Yeah. Anything regarding a CC up here, y'all, it's gonna be contaminated. We could get a tornado up here, so you need to be in your safe spot for sure, but really not going to be able to find a definitive CC drop there. Also, you've got some hail in here too. Definitely a good amount of hail that could also help with contamination. Let's see. There is a little CC, but like I said, that easily could be just hail. I could tell you that type of CC looks a lot more like hail or contamination than a tornado. South of Scotland? Ooh. Dang. That is a little bit more interesting. Yeah. Ooh. Almost some convincing debris signatures with that actually in the past. That definitely could have produced a tornado. A lot better signatures on that than the more northern one. This was probably the most promising scan, but it still overlaps with corruption. It still overlaps with corruption there. So, yeah, I'd expect that definitely warrants a new warning. I wonder if the NWS even sees that, because that's a little bit of a tricky spot to see. So make sure you're in your safe spot if you're out in front of this, around Scotland, or move into the northeast. Doesn't look like a tornado's on the ground now based off of radar. However, radar definitely has lied to us before, so this still, yeah, this easily could be a tornado on the ground. You don't want to mess around, you know? You don't want to play around with your life. It's best to just get to your safe spot just in case. And if there's not a tornado, well, there's 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts with this. So either way, it's going to be a pretty rough ride if you live out here towards Minnow and Lesterville in southeastern South Dakota. Very much wanting to see this new HRRR run. Huh. 1, 2, 3. We're a third county from Minnesota's 20Z. 1, 2, 3. It's close to on time. HRRR is running a little bit slow. Yeah, see that would be a big problem right there. That would be a big problem, but I don't know if storms are going to be able to fire and explode that fast. But regardless, we're looking at a big-time hail day, big-time damaging wind day. The tornado threat is a little bit questionable, but I expect to see a few tornadoes today. Really, the only questionable part is if we get any EF2 or greater tornadoes. 79-mile-an-hour wind gusts report here, measured. So, this storm very much capable of producing 75 to 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Yeah, they just been... The race fell off on this third segment. Went from really good to back to normal NASCAR. I think tomorrow will be more linear. I don't know. I don't think we will know much about tomorrow's full potential until we see morning convection. Because these storms are going to happen directly on top of where storms are going to be today. So, I think tomorrow's potential is very close to the same as today. But I think the tornado threat, I do agree. I think both today and tomorrow should be SIG 2. I think both today and tomorrow should be SIG 2 because they're both a little bit more conditional. Like, if a discrete supercell fires, we could easily get an EF3. So, I think today and tomorrow are both that. I think today, if we get a semi-discrete storm, it could easily produce an EF3 plus tornado, and same goes tomorrow. But I do think the wind risk might be a little bit higher tomorrow, so I do think tomorrow will at some point go moderate for wind. It's already moderate for hail, so. I do think tomorrow's ceiling is high risk, but do I actually think it will be achieved? No. I don't think we'll actually get a high risk tomorrow. But I do think the moderate tomorrow. It's a pretty good size moderate. I don't disagree with it. I think SPC's placement's pretty good. They definitely could shift it further to the west. But right now, there's uncertainty on exactly where the greatest probabilities will be. But we might see a little shift off to the northwest on this. So, yeah, I'll also think we could see a northeast expansion of that. I think the moderate could go more to the northwest and to the northeast. There we go. A new tornado warning just got issued here for southeastern South Dakota for that little area of rotation we were talking about before. This is heading towards Spring Valley, Turkey Ridge, Hurley, and Centerville. Just make sure you're indoors, away from doors and windows, and in your safe spot. You'll be fine. This isn't the type of storm that will, the type of storm today that should be capable of producing an intense tornado or something like that. We could see a brief tornado out of this, and I wouldn't even rule out a strong tornado, but I don't think this storm's going to be capable of producing an intense or greater tornado. So, most likely, if a tornado does touch down and you're in your safe spot, you'll be perfectly fine. This storm's not in that type of environment. It is in a favorable environment, though, if we take a look here on mesoanalysis. Not sure where our photograph went. I guess it just left the chat. Thing just decided to disappear, but 107, 0 to 1, 300, 0 to 3, 2000 Cape. This is all decent. None of this is like S tier, but it's all decent. I would say the 0 to 3 kilometer SRH is probably S tier, though. 300, 0 to 3 is very favorable. Extremely favorable. And you can see we do have some a sharp access of colder air trapped aloft. That could that definitely could help inhibit some storms from initiating in the very, very short term near this cell. So this storm could be all by itself with this cluster for a little while. So I don't think we'll see any good storms fire in this area for a little bit. Now, further to the south, these guys actually could start growing pretty quickly. I think we're give it another hour, and then we're probably going to see a lot more significant storms start to fire. You can see how further to the south that cold air is not as sharp. See how it's not nearly as sharp? That's much better. But further to the north up here, where it's that sharp, that definitely could cause a bit of a problem for storm initiation. And you have a little bit of an EML here, too. A little bit of a warm nose there. So I do think that could inhibit storms on the northern side from firing imminently. Not sure what the HRRR is doing here. Golly. That's crazy. That is crazy. And it does initiate on the dry line here in Oklahoma, which is interesting. I wouldn't rule out a tornado, even a strong one. You never know. We could have another situation here in Oklahoma where a random supercell is able to become a right mover on that dry line and be a huge problem. So if you are in northwest Oklahoma, I'd keep an eye on that just in case. Lucky. Who was involved? I saw one. Yeah, that's the one I saw. Anyone else? Look at that. First PDS severe for 80-mile-an-hour winds right there. No surprise there. We definitely have velocities that support 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts, and we had a report of 78, or rather 79 mile an hour winds, so no shocker there. That's a PDS severe thunderstorm warning. So if you're in that brown box, you need to be in your safe spot, as well as if you're in that red box, or you could be even in both. Let's see here. Yeah, I want to go back up further north. I'm not used to 15% SIG not being a moderate. I was confused. Yeah. A lot of people were confused about that today. Oh no, that tornado threat out of this storm, I have to see. Right now it's staying a little bit more, I don't want to say outflow dominant, but just a little bit more messy, a little bit more linear. It's not outflow dominant, but it's definitely a little bit more linear. And if this can try to become like a full supercell, it definitely could be a huge issue. But I think the big problem today is damaging winds. But we're likely to see a few spin-up tornadoes. Timing for you tomorrow? Nothing's gonna happen for you, so you're fine. Nah. I don't think you'll get much, actually, though. I think you'll just get a line of some isolated damaging winds very, very late tomorrow, technically into Tuesday morning. I think you're looking at more of early Tuesday morning. Probably, I think this could be a little bit fast. So, I'd say probably, let's see, that's 7. I'd say probably close to like 4 a.m. Tuesday morning is what I think. Okay. What, did they update that or something? Maybe upgraded the hail threat on it or something? Kentucky on Tuesday? I don't expect anything too absurd on Tuesday. Let me go ahead and pull out a model run real quick. Yeah, so this is for Tuesday here. And this just shows a big sloppy line rolling through for Tuesday. I wonder if we have, let's see, does the NAM go out that far? Huh. Seems like there's a lot of uncertainty on Tuesday. Just be on the lookout for some isolated 60-mile-an-hour winds. And half-inch hail if you're in western Kentucky. But if you're in eastern Kentucky, you should be fine. Central Kentucky should be pretty much okay. It'd be western Kentucky, I think, that has the biggest threat. So if you're closer to like the Madisonville area, that area, or closer to Paducah. Yeah, so this is in southeastern South Dakota. And we have this little area here going towards Turkey Ridge. And that could result in upwards of 80-mile-an-hour winds here inside of this storm. We actually just got a special MCD. We actually just got a special MCD for this storm. This is a special MCD for destructive hail, destructive winds, and the potential for a strong tornado. So, yeah, the biggest concern is actually destructive winds upwards of 90 miles per hour. That is the biggest thing. Yeah, intense damaging winds near or over 80 miles per hour. And I think that will be the biggest problem with this storm. So that's a special mesoscale discussion there. Thankfully, not the special MCDs, we've seen too often this year. We've seen a lot of special violent MCDs for violent tornadoes, but not many special MCDs for 90-mile-an-hour winds. Only a handful of those. And I believe 2 of those, or no, 1 of those was yesterday. $100-mile-an-hour winds? Nah. I wouldn't rule out 100-mile-an-hour winds somewhere today, but I don't know if it'd come from this. Right now, this thing is more of 70 to 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this. Maybe a gust or 2 upwards of 90. Yeah, that's a new tornado warning for the northern side of this storm. New tornado warning for that bookend vortex, so... Yeah, what you have here is you have your damaging winds pushing out like this. And there's a little notch right there. You see that notching? That's allowing for some little winds to sneak in and try to form a tornado right in here. So that's why we have our first tornado warning for Spring Valley, Turkey Ridge, and Hurley. But then we have another tornado warning up here because you have all these winds that are pushing along the line like this, creating that 70 to 80 mile an hour damaging wind threat. And then you have winds that are trying to wrap back up into here. And so as those winds are rushing out in front, what's happening is they're rushing out in front and getting sucked into here. That's helping this tornado threat increase. And then they're continuing to rush up in here and then helping to increase this tornado threat. So we've got two little notches here where we could see a tornado at any moment. But neither are very tight. You can see how those red pixels are pretty far away. Those red pixels are moving decently further away from that area of rotation. Whereas back down here, this is a little bit tighter. You can see there. Winds going towards the radar, winds going away from the radar. So that's a little bit of a tighter area of rotation. I would say this storm going towards Spring Valley has a much higher chance right now to produce a tornado than the one in Freeman. They upgraded that hail threat to 1.75-inch hail on our PDS Severe. So make sure you're in your safe spot if you are in that brown polygon or the flashing red and pink polygons. This is in southeastern South Dakota. We do have a severe in Michigan for 1-inch hail and 60 mile an hour winds in Midland. Another severe out here in Wisconsin. But these are just your ordinary severes. They're not significant. They're not tornado concerns right now. Not yet, at least. We will have to watch Michigan a little bit later tonight for a tornado threat. Curious if one of these little updrafts can be our first big updraft of this southern risk. We'll have to see. Let me go back to the HRRR. I actually want to go to WOFUS in a second here. Yeah, HRRR has stuff really exploding closer to 5. Let's go to WOFUS. Let's see. We should probably go to May, huh? Probably don't want to use the WOFUS from 3 months ago. A lot of the WOFUS runs are more confident in a sloppier mode today. That definitely could help decrease our tornado threat. Our highest tornado threat may actually be from the line. Might actually end up being from more of the line today. The spin-up tornado threat. Very high confidence in a swath of damaging winds in northwest Iowa, northeastern Nebraska today. Want to go back to the HRRR, see if that matches up. Yep. Matches up perfectly. That's where I would have the 45 sig today. If I were the SPC, I would say like right in here is that greatest wind threat. From probably just over Omaha all the way back up till south central Minnesota. So if we look at the SPC's outlook, I think they have the 45% is a little bit too far north and also not enough to the south. So I take that northern part of the 45 sig 1 today, push it to the south down in here like that, and I think that outlook would be a lot better. take the northern side of it and teleport it to the south. Let's see. The NWS in Omaha says that the greatest severe threat is from 4 to 11, which I believe they're central out here, so that'd be from 5 p.m. to midnight. Which is almost exactly what I said earlier in the live stream. I said 6 to midnight. So NWS, same from 5 Eastern to 11 Eastern. Or rather, 5 Eastern to midnight Eastern. My bad. So yeah, here is the SPC outlook for today. If you're just now tuning in here, our main area is that orange region. That's your level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for severe weather today, where we're likely to see a few tornadoes, 1 or 2 possibly being strong long track tornadoes, maybe even 1 EF3 tornado being possible. Also likely to see damaging winds widespread 60 to 80, with a few gusts as high as 90 to 100 miles per hour. We also could see a few hailstones around the realm of 3 inches in diameter today in that enhanced risk area. The greatest tornado threat today is focused in that 15 hatched corridor. This is a SIG 1 contour, which means maximum tornado intensity is roughly EF2 today. So we're most likely to see EF2 tornadoes, but we also could see a tornado potentially up to EF3. But we're most likely to see weak to strong tornadoes. Let's see here. So, again, tornado warning still in effect out here in southeastern South Dakota. 2 tornado warnings. I actually want to switch to this real quick. Spectrum width doesn't match up, but ZDR decreasing does. Wouldn't be surprised if that's brief tornado ongoing. Very hard to say, though, because it overlaps. One scan before, it overlapped with a hail core. Newest scan, it overlaps with almost clear air. So, if that is a tornado, it's a brief tornado. Likely a weak, brief tornado here. Just to the southwest of Hurley in southeastern South Dakota. Chance of a violent tornado happening today? There's definitely a chance. I just don't see it being likely. The only way we really see a tornado that caliber is if we get a complete discrete storm mode for like 2 hours. And some models don't even have a discrete mode lasting but a couple minutes. They fire very clustered. Oops. Straight line winds is a very, very large issue, but also tornadoes, yeah. Straight line winds will probably be the biggest problem because they'll be a lot more widespread, but our tornado threat will be a big problem today too because tornadoes could be embedded inside of the line of damaging winds. So we could see a lot of weak, brief tornadoes or a lot of just brief tornadoes as a whole, maybe even a few strong. But we're not expecting to see like a violent tornado today or something like that. The problem is the line that forms later today could produce a lot of tornadoes. But if it does produce tornadoes, they're likely to be weaker. We still could see a few strong tornadoes, though, on that line. So storms like first fire, it depends how long they stay discrete. If they stay discrete long enough, they could produce long tracked, intense tornadoes. But if they grow upscale immediately, we're going to see damaging winds be the biggest problem. But we still could see a few strong tornadoes embedded inside of that line as it continues up to the northeast. This is for 7 o'clock Eastern, about 2.5 hours. 8 o'clock, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. I think our greatest severe threat will be over around midnight Eastern. That's right here. And this stuff definitely could end up being a problem for some hail, wind, and a few tornadoes, and maybe even one strong down here in Kansas if they actually get going. Same goes for if we see anything fire there in northwestern Oklahoma. Let's go back to our radar here. Still consistent. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if this is if this was a very weak, brief spin-up tornado southwest of Hurley in southeastern South Dakota. Would not surprise me at all. And this is probably all just hail on that newest scan, but that's a problem too, because hail, that could be some pretty big hail right there. That can cause some damage there southeast of Freeman. Wichita area for tomorrow. Let's see. It's more conditional down there. If storms fire, they're likely to be intense, but we may not see many intense storms fire down there. Tomorrow's got quite a bit of question marks regarding how widespread storms may be. But when storms do fire, they're likely to be very strong to intense. Right now, the highest confidence is back up in here. There's even a little bit of some question marks on the tail end of that moderate 4 to 5 there. This complex of storms is heading right for Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So if you live in Sioux Falls here, in about an hour or so, we're going to have this line of likely 60 to 70 mile an hour winds pull through. A few gusts could even approach 80 miles per hour. And we also could see a brief tornado or two on this line. So definitely want to be hyper weather aware if you are in Sioux Falls here in South Dakota. Looks like we do have some better storm initiation now in Nebraska. So that's going to be our first main storms to really fire on this more southern risk. should be our main risk. Should be our main storms firing right there. Question is, how many of them fire and how quickly do they grow upscale? Let's see. Next new thing we get is the HRRR run here in a few minutes. After that, it will be mesoanalysis at 5:15 Eastern. And we are getting a new WOFUS run right now. Actually, it's already finished. Here's your new WOFUS run. I'm seeing a lot of confidence in a swath of significant damaging winds right in here. A lot of confidence between these runs in damaging winds in that area. I'm curious. Let's see. Yeah. Very high confidence. So that's probably going to be a very big issue there. This is the tornado probability. And you can see that's very, very elevated along that line in southeastern Nebraska. I don't know exactly what probability that is. That looks to be like roughly a 35-40% tornado probability out there. So very high probability of at least one tornado today in that vicinity. And that's right along the line. That would continue into northwest Iowa. The good news, though, is that's a line, so there's a high chance the chance for an EF3 or greater tornado with that would be fairly low. But, I mean, yeah, you could see so many WOFUS runs have updraft tracks there. So many. And I think most of those come from these storms here. So, yeah, we're going to be watching those probably for the rest of this entire live stream as those explode in Nebraska. But our more imminent short-term threat is this storm heading towards Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Did I call it, Lucky? I called that before the race even started. You were right. That's because it got boring. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it being a very boring last. Look at satellite. Let me see. Yeah, looks like the satellite before a huge outbreak. I'll tell you that. You see your conditional dry line threat down in here. Likely to see storm development at some point in this area. And then our highest severe threat in this region. Right in here. So we've got, this is probably where it's most conditional, right down in there. That's your conditional storms. This is kind of split. I don't think it's that conditional down in here. I really think we're going to see storms fire, and they're likely to be severe. But the strong tornado threat is a little bit more conditional in that blue area, but still likely to see severe storms. And then that's our main severe weather risk right in here. From that MCV, rather MCS from southeastern South Dakota, all the way to where those bubblers are, right at my cursor down in here. Let's see. Yeah, you can see those storms bubbling very well right there. Your MCS up here. And nothing on the conditional storms further to the south of conditional dryland. You could see that's right there. Right there. Get out the way, severe thunderstorm warning. Try to show something. Yeah. I'll wait for that to disappear. If it doesn't disappear and another one comes through, I'll show you on radar. Come on. Come on. Right there. Right there is where your conditional threat starts. So south of that line, that's conditional. Down there. This is not conditional. I called it. I called it. You should have, to him, you should have looked at DMs. Yeah. Curious if you could see that. Yeah. Right there's your conditional threat. Down here. Yep, these storms still blowing up very well here in central Nebraska. This line does look a little bit weaker, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like it would produce 80-mile-an-hour winds. It still could produce 60 to 70, but I doubt we'll see something like this for a little while. 20 minutes ago, 81-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. Definitely a significant wind gust. We have a borderline moderate today, Sam, and then we have a moderate tomorrow, and then a pretty big windy day on Tuesday. Tuesday probably won't be much of a tornado day, but a very widespread wind threat Tuesday. Main hail threat on Tuesday will be pretty low end, aside from maybe southwest Texas, or south central Texas, rather. As for the East Coast, we could get a little something on Wednesday, but I doubt it will be anything notable. East Coast doesn't really see many notable severe weather events. Lucky. At least look at it this way, his wind doesn't count. Hey, well, I mean, he got 10th. Better than mine. They didn't upgrade Eno to EF5. I ain't gonna go look. Yep, that's right, Pete. Let's see. Yeah, so we still have that PDS severe for 14 more minutes. Just stay in your safe spot. Southeastern South Dakota. Those velocities have come down exponentially. Yeah, 180 mile per hour, not EF5 though. Yeah, Enid was 180. That didn't hit anything worthy of a EF5 rating. But definitely mid to high end EF4 rating on that with the structures that it hit. Let's see. What? What? That I didn't see coming. PDS severe in Michigan. Right there, hail core, 2.75-inch hail for Bay City, Michigan. That's in a 5% hail risk right there. Not 5%, 15%. I knew I was at the wrong thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's 15%. Yeah, it is. 15% hail risk. But non-sig, which is something. Most of the time you only get those PDS severes and a sig risk. But that is a 2.75-inch hail severe and a 15% non-sig slight risk for Bay City, Michigan. Get to your safe spot. That's a particularly dangerous storm. We actually got an EDS PDS severe there. It's purple, so it's actually hard to see. So let's go ahead and actually switch that. Severe EDS. There you go. So there you go. That pink box right there. That's a PDS EDS. Means it is a particularly dangerous, extremely dangerous situation. So most likely there is an area that is highly just very, very easily could be damaged with 80 mile per hour wind gusts, or it's easily to be damaged. Most of the time they issue EDS is when it's a bunch of mobile homes in the path. An area that is very easily damaged with damaging winds. So get to your safe spot there. If you're in Canton, southeastern South Dakota, that's a PDS EDS. Means you should run to your safe spot. It's extremely dangerous and particularly dangerous. Severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warning is in effect for 11 more minutes, but I expect that to just be disextended and canceled. Actually, not canceled, just allowed to expire. I can't talk today. I expect that to just be completely expired at 11 minutes and not extended. Let me go back over here. Although I really think that this storm has died out exponentially. I really don't think that this is going to be producing 80 mile-an-hour wind gusts anymore. So, yeah, just still be in your safe spot, though. It's been a long-lived MCS so far, and I think it will continue. We'll have probably sporadic moments where it weakens and strengthens. That's typically what MCSs do. It's pretty rare that they just stay alive the entire time. Like, maintain 80, 90 mile an hour winds the entire time. see here. Look at the spotters. Let me see. Which updraft you said? Can't even find your comment. I lost it. I'd imagine it'd be over here, huh? That's a lot of spotters right in this area, dude. A lot of spotters right in that area. Not too many people on this more northern storm, but there's definitely some people up there. But yeah, the bulk of chasers are going to be with the more southern storms. Now, the far southern storms along the dry line, there's not many people here. There's only a handful of people along the dry line. Ooh, you're going to do that? Sweet, I'll watch. Oh, okay. Yeah, so still, I mean, we do have little pixels here that could produce wind gusts of maybe up to 70, 65, 70 miles per hour, but I doubt that that this storm will produce 80 mile an hour wind gusts. We get a new mesoanalysis here in 7 minutes or less. Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet. Actually, I think we did. Look at that. That's in a hot spot right there. New mesoanalysis. There is a bullseye. And there's a storm firing right in the bullseye. Wow. That is a very, very volatile environment. Not the best lower level wind shear, but that definitely will change with time. Still 100 to 130 should be enough to get this storm going. Big question is just, does it remain discreet or does it get sloppy? I'm thinking it could remain semi discreet for like an hour, maybe two, and then it's going to get sloppy. I don't think this thing will remain a very high threat tornado, like intense tornado wise, for very long. Yeah. But still, we'll see. I still expect multiple tornadoes today, maybe a few strong. I wouldn't rule out an intense tornado, but it's difficult to get an intense tornado threat with a kind of sloppy risk like this. Or more sloppy mode. I like how they went 45 sig for these up here, but this, they didn't. I really, really think for the wind threat, they should have brought that 45 sig further to the south, like right in here. I think that's where our 45 sig one should be. The hail threat, I agree with them keeping it 30% actually now, because this mode does look a bit messy. That may not promote hailstones greater than. We could still see a few hailstones around 3.5 to 4 inches in diameter, but I don't think that's worth a moderate. I think storms will grow upscale too quick uh, to promote a moderate being needed. For hail, at least. Yeah, StormNet likes the right around the Columbus area at 7 o'clock. Oh wow, they already severed it. Dang. Yeah, StormNet likes the Columbus area in about 2 hours. And that's right where this storm's going. So I do think this storm's going to be a big problem here. So if you are down towards Columbus, if you're in Central City, Fullerton, Timber Creek, Columbus, Platte Center, Monroe, that area, I'd be watching this region. If you live in this area, I'd be watching this storm very, very closely here in about an hour or so. Very, very good position storm, too. The heck is that? It's like, I suppose that's a legitimate signature. I guess. It came from a previous book in Vortex, but it's just odd. We'll see if that gets warned going towards Dalton and Monroe, South Dakota. Huh. You know, I just realized that cold front's too fast. That cold front is way too fast. Why is your cold front already right here? Like, this storm is on your cold front. So, goodbye, discrete storms. You maybe got 30 minutes of discrete storms today. I feel like that's exponentially quicker than modeled. Looks like it to me, at least. Let's see. Yeah. Your cold front's like right up in here. This is your dry line down in here still, so you know, that area I think it's gonna be a little bit clustered, but I don't think it will be full linear. But this is probably gonna be more of a linear mess. It doesn't completely destroy our tornado threat, but it definitely decreases our potential today for EF3 plus tornadoes. Let me see. Yeah. It almost looks like these storms are firing behind the cold front, but they're not. Your cold front is right here. Right in there, roughly. I don't know exactly where it goes from here, to be honest with you. I don't. Is that a? I'm guessing that's a low pressure, actually. I'm guessing it's a cold front going into a low pressure, and then that goes into your dry line right down in here. That's my guess. And there's another low, probably further north, is what I'm assuming. Yeah. So it looks like you got a low here. Goes into your cold front, goes into your low, goes into your dry line. That's what it looks like to me. That looks to be your setup, front-wise. Yeah, the thing is, these storms, they're going to be discrete for a little while, but the thing is, they're not going to be discrete in the best tornado window. If they were more discrete in like an hour and a half or so, closer to 6:30, 7 o'clock Eastern, then today's tornado threat would be a lot higher. It would actually be well worth a moderate. But it seems like they're going to be discrete like an hour or two before our environment peaks. And once our environment peaks, they're going to be forced up into a squall line. But I still expect today to be very significant. Especially damaging wind-wise. Let's see. That's probably why most of your Wophus runs are a bit more sloppy, because that cold front's quicker. I think our best threat for a long track strong tour plus today is with that southern storm. This guy right here. I think if one of these, either the one that's severe or one a little further south, can just stay a little bit in front of that main cold front, it could kind of be like a prefrontal. And I believe some Wolfuses have that, like for instance, Wolfus 3. Cold front is right here. And then you've got this storm is almost kind of like a prefrontal here. And then your low pressure would be somewhere in this area going down to your dry line. That is possible. That is possible. A few Wolfus runs have it in front of the cold front. But then others have it on the cold front and not a huge tornado problem. But again, if we go back to, let's see here. This is your MRMS. I really want to go, is it 20? Ooh, we got a new forecast coming in right now from this, actually. I can't find exactly what I was wanting to see here. Maybe I'll find it in a bit. I lost it. There's so many products on Wofus, I get turned around on what I'm trying to find. That's for rain. All right, let's see. We'll go back to our new severe for Sioux Falls. 70-mile-an-hour winds there. So if you're in Sioux Falls, you don't have to be at your safe spot because you're not in a PDS severe, but you are in a significant severe. So I recommend being away from doors and windows and close to your safe spot, just in case this does end up producing 70-plus mile-an-hour winds. Really, Fred? I mean, I can't blame him. It's such a small window for discrete storms. Both of these days, both today and tomorrow, are very short windows for discrete storms. But still, I mean, all it takes is the right type of storm interaction. You got yourself an intense tornado today, so I don't know if Connor's not really known for skipping a setup just because it's conditional. Uh, Lower level wind shear still a problem. I do think this storm's going to be a problem here. Probably closer to 6:30. I think it's going to take an hour for it to get its act together. And that might depend on what happens with this up further to the north. A little bit of an increasing damaging wind threat on this storm now, south of Sioux Falls. See, these pixels are getting back up to the 60 mile per hour range, 60 plus mile per hour range there. So a bit more of an increasing wind threat with this storm as it's heading into Sioux Falls. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll watch this closely. Mainly damaging wind threat there. Tornado threat right now, very low. Very low tornado threat right now. Let's see. Trying to check something real quick. Y'all give me just a bit. Gracious. All right, let's go back to satellite. So that's your satellite. Definitely a lot of clearing. That's going to help today's overall severe threat to be a little bit more significant than if there was cloud cover. But you definitely have a problem with lack of lower level wind shear and your cold front being a little bit too fast. I just upgraded this storm to observed 1.75-inch hail for St. Paul in southeastern Nebraska. So make sure you are away from doors and windows and close to your safe spot there. That is a pretty significant storm. And in about an hour or so, it could be our main tornado threat. No, our cold front's not hours ahead. It's literally just a little bit ahead of time. If we go back to our morning 12Z run, you can see this is for 5 o'clock. And your cold front is, let's see, right back here. That's where your cold front is, and then you go turn into your dry line down in here. If we compare that to your newest run, it's just a little ahead of time. It's not crazy. It's definitely ahead of schedule, but yeah, probably by like, I don't know, 10, 15 miles. It's not very far ahead of schedule, but it's definitely ahead of schedule. And that's gonna, that's about an hour or so difference right there with your cold front. A 1 hour faster cold front, that's all it takes for today to underperform tornado-wise. Yeah, but you can see how this is already turning into a little bit of a sloppy mess here. See our new Wofus run yet. It's definitely not close to in all the way. Oh wait, that's because I'm on the wrong thing. Well, let me go ahead and switch that then. Tornado warning. Strange. Not a lot of convergence there, but there is a bit. So you've got winds going towards the radar like this. And then winds going away. Not really a great convergence signature. The only area where I see a potential tornado threat is maybe in here, but your winds are kind of going the wrong way. Because your winds are going towards this and then away like that. So not very good, not a very good convergent signature for a tornado, to be honest with you. New Wofus runs, a lot of them show clustered. What you want, Lucky? Yeah. Lucky's yapping right now. I muted in the call so I could talk. Dude's professional yapper. Let's see. Yeah, Wolf is definitely a bit messier on this one. On this one run. Still looks pretty good, though, right in here. Yeah, like I said, that comes from our cluster. So, I think closer... That says closer to 7, though. Yeah, you're going to lose it all. I'm super confident. Yep. It won't. Gracious, what is the chat on? I'll just let y'all be, man. Sam's over here acting like he's 13, making the chat go off topic. I'll just let him do him. But we do have a tornado warning now for the city of Sioux Falls, so make sure you're indoors away from doors and windows and in your safe spot. I don't know. Close your eyes and click a track. You're well at the bottom. This dude, Joel. Yeah. Alright, stop. Yeah, do the one under that. Do the one under. No, no, no. Do the one above that. Above. Yeah, no, no. Yeah, that one. Yes. This dude. We still have a PDS Severe out here for Bay City, but that's falling apart at this point. Strange, but they did continue the PDS EDS out here for Canton. Not too sure why, but they did. Not really much there, to be honest with you, wind-wise. This is getting a little bit tighter here. You've got winds going. The problem is it's still the wrong way. Because you've got winds going like this towards the radar, which is here, like this. So it's still not very tornadic. This is a kind of like dead opposite tornado here. Not really sure why that's warned, but sure. It's warned just because. Let's see. I've had it muted the whole time, bro. I ain't gonna hear it. Yep. Yeah, so right now this is just really a wind threat. Just don't go outside and you'll be fine. I really don't see a huge wind threat with this. There's a few little areas that can maybe produce 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but really nothing that's worthy, in my opinion, of a PDS severe or a tornado warning. Let's go back down to Nebraska. See this merger still occurring here. I definitely would want to be on the tail end of this, that's for sure. You definitely want to be in Cario right now if you're a chaser. Just north of Wood River in Nebraska. Because this merger definitely could favor a tornado threat here in the next 30 minutes. Let me see here. Let's go back to meso analysis. So again, this is the environment they're in. Pretty good environment. I will say your temperature dew point spreads a little bit far, but I don't think that will be a huge problem. But, you know, 84.66, I mean, that's almost 20. That's definitely pushing elevated. Quite a bit more elevated. But this look, I don't know. I do think it still could become tornadic. And then again, this just looks like sloppy for a tornado threat. And again, not sure why we still have a PDS EDS down here for Canton, South Dakota. But this one severe is actually for 4 states out here. This severe includes South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. All issued by the same NWS there. Issued one severe warning that includes 3 different states. Yeah, that's down here. No surprise there. No surprise there. You can see winds going away from your radar, winds going towards your radar. Definitely an area of rotation and trying to ramp up right in here. So there's your tornado warning just north of Grand Island, or Grand, I guess that is Grand Island. Well, with that. But not a very strong area of rotation right now. Fairly disorganized, and those elevated dew points and temperature spread definitely could try to inhibit this from producing an actual tornado. It might be rotating strong in the upper levels, but that rotation may not get all the way to the lower levels into the surface. Yeah, Catman, that's because you have your notifications disabled. Everything about that? Maybe you should hit the enable button on all notifications. This dude wants to keep blaming YouTube over here. He ain't even turned them on. Yeah, that's a new warning for over 3,000 people. Over 3,000 people there inside this new tornado warning storm. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Catman. Yeah, definitely a really good looking storm here. Really good inflow. Really good supercell characteristics here. But it's definitely got some problems with mergers consistently hitting it. The more elevated dew point temperature spread. The other supercell on its far northern flank. So it has some things to sort out, but I definitely think it could drop a tornado here pretty soon. But just know not everything is working in that storm's favor. Not everything. Excuse me. Yeah, so this will be our biggest problem, most likely, of the day. This is this cluster here, likely to turn into a long-tracked MCS over the next few hours and become a big problem as we go towards the Iowa-Nebraska border. Did we get a new NATO cast? Let's see. We did. Huh. Weird. Has a moderate in Kansas. For tornadoes today. Can't say I agree with that. There's definitely some tornado potential down there, but I doubt it's 15 sig worthy. Yeah, all these mergers. I just feel like it's going to be a little while before this really gets its good tornado potential going. I wanted to look at StormNet. StormNet's been downtrending all day. Yeah, it has pretty good confidence in this storm near Grand Isle, though. Yeah. StormNet still kind of on the down spiral, really. It was pretty aggressive earlier today, but it's been downtrending, really. We'll see. See if those mergers stay in front of this storm. As opposed to, like, right over the hook. StormNet is, like, the same for tomorrow. As it is for today. Let me see. StormNet has a... Let's see here. Looks like the maximum tornado probability it has for tomorrow is about 60% across northeastern Kansas. And today, I believe its highest probability is in northern Iowa for the QLCS threat. Yeah, northern Iowa, just northwest of Fort Dodge, and that's about a 45%. Oh, wait. It actually has a 60% in west central Iowa. Yeah, it has a 60%, like, right up in here. I'm assuming that's for this line that pushes through. Right about 9-10 p.m. Eastern. Still continuing the SIG severe for observed 2-inch hail. One north of that, radar indicated 1.75-inch hail. Check on Sioux Falls. Y'all are looking really good tornado-wise. They're probably not going to get a tornado out of this in the short term. That might be able to try to recycle in about an hour once it heads closer to Rock Rapids in Iowa, east of Beaver Creek in southwest Minnesota. But I think short term, this storm is considerably weaker. They downgraded the EDS PDS and it's completely expired now. Still continuing the tornado warning for Harrisburg and southern side of Sioux Falls in southeast South Dakota for the next 30 minutes. All right, chat, what do we think? I'm not going to let Lucky know this, but what do you guys think for those who are typing in chat? Do we think Lucky's going to wreck on this race? He's playing a racing game against real people. Do you guys think he's going to wreck, or you think he's going to survive and not wreck at all? His track record is not very good. He used to be very good, but now he's been not too good, so... I'll let y'all know if he wrecks or not. A lot of you guys are saying wreck. You're probably going to be right. Lucky. Is that a 20th qualifying effort? Okay. Yeah, it is. Nah, that was his practice. He'll do qualifying in a bit. I wonder where he's going to place. Yeah, storm's going up in Kansas too. These shouldn't be much of a tornado issue. We could see a few tornadoes of them, out of them, maybe a bit later though. But yeah, you could see 58 dew points, 93 temps. Not a big tornado threat down there. Not looking half bad right there. Not looking half bad. New HRRR in just a few minutes. Can't wait to see it show the same slop fest. $11 4 dew points. Wow, that is a crazy temperature dew point spread right there compared to areas around it. Okay. Just had to check that that was a bug. It definitely is. Wow. Today's cooked. What the heck? Say hello to your cold front. Today is fried, bro. Good on the SPC for not going 10 sig too. Yeah, a faster cold front today could actually help tomorrow's threat because that gets the morning convection out of here for tomorrow because the faster cold front would just force all this upscale and get it out quicker. We'll see. Yeah, the trough is probably moving a little bit quicker. That could be what's helping your cold front go a little bit quicker. But, I mean, if that's the case, I feel like that'd be better for tomorrow, too, because tomorrow trended slower. You know? Tomorrow was trending slower, so if today goes faster, that probably could help the threat tomorrow. You see, according to the rat model, it still looks pretty good. But I feel like a little faster trough might help tomorrow. Definitely still trying to get a tornado to develop here. Just east of Howard City. In Nebraska. I would expect at least a little re-intensification from this line once it goes right towards the border in Minnesota and Iowa. Like I said, once it gets towards Beaver Creek and Rock Rapids, that's the border right there between Minnesota and Iowa. I'd expect that to intensify a little bit more. I think this thing's got some steam left in it. I'm not saying today is going to be like a full-blown bust, but I do think the tornado threat, the intense long-track tornado threat that could have existed today won't, thanks to the faster cold front. But I do still think we'll see a few tornadoes embedded inside of the QLCS, and as well as probably a strong tornado threat too. So do we count this? Because Lucky wrecked on the qualifying lap. Does that count? Bro wrecked on the qualifying lap when it's just him on the track. On the ground per sheriff. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. We'll see if the NWS confirms it, but that wouldn't surprise me. Go to this radar. It probably would have been a very brief week, Tornado. Very, very brief. Now here comes another cell merger. Aiming right for it. Let's see here. I'm going to take a look at chaser conversions again. Let's see. Just a few people. Just a few people. That's a lot of chasers, man. They're scaring the tornadoes away. There's too many chasers. Yes, that's the cold front right behind it. Right in here is the cold front. It goes up just like this. This is your cold front right here. And then it goes into your low pressure, which goes into your dry line. It's not that clean. There's a little spot in here where it goes like your low pressure's here and your dry line kind of like curves this way and then continues south and then cold front's up here. So it's not like a perfect transition there between your cold front, low pressure, and dry line. There you go, though. That's a confirmed tornado warning now. So this is an observed warning, observed by weather spotters. So tornado was or still is on the ground here in Nebraska. There's the report. Train spotters reported a tornado 3 minutes ago at 5:51 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:51 p.m. Central Daylight Time. It's moving up to the northeast. I'd imagine it's probably already lifted by now, but yeah. Just a very, very weak, brief tornado. Pretty surprised, though, that it produced, because from what I saw, it actually was a very high base storm. So, little surprised that actually managed to produce a brief, quick tour. The wind threat on this thing just fell apart quickly. I'm surprised we still have that tornado warning, because I don't think this storm ever was tornadic to begin with. It had quite outflow dominant characteristics to it. This is a little bit more interesting. If we could get some better greens in here, that definitely would be proper, decent rotation, heavily rain wrapped, but definitely not the best area of rotation, if you want to call it rotation. Okay, well, it all just fell apart, so there you go. There's your answer to that. Still not tornadic. So, yeah. We'll keep watching this. Could still be a tornado on the ground. New severe warning. I'm a little surprised that's for 70-mile-an-hour winds and not 60, but yeah, it is what it is. Storm still could produce 60 to 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So just be away from doors and windows if you're in that new severe. And by the way, that severe is not tour possible. New HRRR run here for today. I mean, I don't even know why I use this model because it's already dead wrong right now. Still, I guess it's fun to look at. Suppose it's fun to look at. All right. Hold on. Okay. New severe warning in north central Kansas. So be away from doors and windows there if you live in Burr Oak, Kansas. Also, actually, for Superior, Nebraska as well. So just be away from doors and windows there. Yeah, I don't think this is still actively producing a tornado. It could be, but I doubt it. I believe that was just a weak, brief spin up that was reported, most likely. Just for anyone wondering, by the way, if you said Lucky would wreck, you were right. He just got in a huge wreck. I switched to his screen because I could hear his wheel going crazy. And normally that means he's either wrecking or something's happening. So I looked and he was wrecked. Watch this. Great driving, Lucky. You did good. You did good, bro. Y'all think he's gonna wreck on this one? He's doing another one. You wrecked in practice, qualifying, and the real race, and got 2 black flags. You're not very. You're not very good there, bro. I love it. He always says how he could beat these really good racers. He's like, I could have done better than that. Then he gets on iRacing and he's worse than anybody I've ever seen. I love it. But there you go. Back down to radar indicated, so not on the ground anymore. Good on the National Weather Service for downgrading that. Sometimes when there's been a confirmed tornado and it lasts like a minute or less, they'll keep it observed for like the entire 30-minute time frame that it's on. So good on the NWS for dropping the observed warning if it's actually no longer on the ground, which it's not. It is not on the ground. There we go. Also, not sure who said Connor's not chasing, because he is. So, wherever you saw that from, it wasn't true. Back on the ground. I don't see a very clear tornado yet, but you guys probably have a better visual than me. I mean, I'm not seeing anything right now. I saw a funnel, but I never saw any good ground circulation, and it's if that even was a funnel, it's gone now. Tours down, yeah. Whoever is saying that has to be wrong. I mean, I've only seen a small funnel, and then the report, which was a valid report. We definitely had a tornado on the ground earlier. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye on this chaser feed. But if there is any tornadoes dropping down from this, they're very weak, very brief, and not significant. Speaking of significant, we did just get 9 minutes ago from a 911 call center. So someone called in 2.75-inch hail here 9 minutes ago, which is actually significant enough to be a PDS severe. So we'll see if the NWS out here upgrades to a PDS severe or not. Right now, they still have it at 2-inch hail, but likely right around the realm of 2-inch hail falling from this storm. Is that contamination or legit? What do you think? Tell me, Critty. You tell me. What do you think? Is that contamination or legit? What do you think? This is your hook, Echo. This is your area of what you're questioning to be legit. Pretty sure, and by the way, now that reflectivity is updated, pretty sure with 99.9% confidence that is full contamination. Only reason why it looks a little bit more convincing, there you go. Now it looks back to what it actually is, contamination. Only reason why it was convincing there for a second is because the reflectivity was 2 minutes ahead of the velocity, and so it looked like for a minute it lined up. Tornado warning still in effect for 10 more minutes on this storm in southeastern South Dakota. So stay in your safe spot there till that's fully lifted. I'm going to go to this one here. Oh. Well, that dude chose the wrong target area. Went to another chaser because I thought he'd be close to the tornado, and it's complete and utter blue skies. Wonder if he bet on the Oklahoma storms firing. Oh, observed again. Yeah, pretty sure though that if since this is now apparently producing another tornado, most likely just multiple weak brief spin ups here. I haven't seen anything that shows like a strong tour is ongoing or about to occur. So just being your safe spot. These tornadoes from these storms, or tornadoes from this storm in particular, seems to be multiple fairly weak brief tornadoes. But yeah, you can see 2 minutes ago, new tornado on the ground, broadcast media. So, another report of a tornado ongoing. Yeah, I'm looking at multiple chaser feeds. I don't see any clear tornadoes, so if there is one, it's likely weak and brief. I'll pull up another one here. Oh, well. Maybe not this time. That looks like a legitimate signature. So this is actually a large cone tornado now on the ground. Yep, that's a legitimate signature. That's a CC drop. Right there. So tornado ongoing. Very large tornado too. Wow. Large tornado ongoing now. Gracious, that's a ripper.
A new PDS tornado warning has been issued.
Yep, no shocker there. That's why I unmuted everything, because I knew that was coming through. So PDS tornado warning now in effect. Wow. Pretty sure that's your CC drop right there. So we've got a strong tornado ongoing, and look where it is. Look where it is. PDS warning for the one of the two cities I called out in between this area. It's a little bit further north than I was thinking, but it's going right for Fullerton, Archer, and Palmer. See if I can go back to this chaser here. Yeah, this is a large and extremely dangerous situation. A large confirmed tornado is on the ground. This is a very dangerous situation. If you are in the path of this, this is for central Nebraska, for Palmer, Archer, and Fullerton, as well as Clarks and surrounding areas in Nebraska. So be in your safe spot. Wow. That is an insane tornado. Huge debris ball, too. Gracious day. Just, I'd say this is almost a violent tornado right now. Lofting debris at least 12,000 feet up. Yeah, this is an intense to violent tornado right now. Gracious day. Look at that. You got a reflectivity debris ball as well. Now, thankfully, this is picking up mainly just field debris. However, I do believe that this is going to be going towards a more populated area right now, and it actually might have just crossed over some homes right now. Definitely a bit of a rural area, but still people here. So very, very strong tornado ongoing. Gracious day. Yeah, but again, right now in an open field now. Could have just hit some homes there. It's big old dusty tornado. Gracious. Yeah, so this is going to be going towards Archer. And not really a lot of notable population here. Not really a lot of notable population. in front of this. But a intense to borderline violent tornado ongoing. If we go ahead and switch over here. Yeah, if this continues on its exact trajectory, it's going to go just probably north of Archer. In between Palmer and Archer. Yeah, at least 18,000 feet up. At least 18,000 feet up, but could be even higher. Let's see. Holy crap. It's horizontal vortices on that one. I just got a brief frame from a chaser. Had a horizontal vortices just a minute ago. Yeah, that is a bunch of debris right there. That is a lot of debris. Lot of debris right there. A lot weaker on velocity, though. Considerably weaker on velocity. You're going to cause a second one, though. Let's see. Wow. Yeah, it looks like the velocity kind of detached from the main hook, so could be a way that that weakens quicker. But still a tornado very much on the ground. Still a strong tornado ongoing. Gracious. Oh, they also did upgrade this to PDS Severe for 2.75-inch hail as well. Yeah, you can see that this storm is starting to get more discreet now. So all the storm to its north started dying out. That's what helped this a lot. That storm on the north started dying out, so this thing was able to get a good hail core going, and that helped in return clear out the hook echo, and thus we were able to get a fully discrete storm. I do think a lot of that is debris. I think a lot of this is debris falling out of the sky right now. Now, it may not be like fully lifted and falling out of the sky, but maybe the tornado has shrunk and some of the larger debris is falling out of the sky. Can't see it on the ground, but it doesn't mean it ain't in there. Yeah, there's your next scan. A lot of debris still left there. I don't see a tornado on the ground. Not seeing one on the ground right now. But still stay in your safe spot if you're in that PDS tornado warning. This very quickly could recycle. Very quickly could recycle. They're continuing the PDS there in Nebraska. We also just got a tornado warning in Michigan for a hail core. Why is that tornado warned again? I guess. 2-inch hail on that tornado warning as well in Michigan, so be in your safe spot there. Let me change this real quick. There we go. Perfect. Just so you can see the PDS a bit better, because it does blend in a bit with the tornado watch on this program. That was a huge tornado, though. Surprisingly large tornado. And look at this storm, man. It's really all by itself. So, even though the linear mode seemed more likely, that hasn't been the case. Not really sure where the cold front's going. I think the cold front's just leaving. At first, I thought this was the cold front here, but now that seems to be some sort of outflow boundary, because if it was the cold front, it'd be turning these storms. See, new mesoanalysis here. Oh, wow. Yeah, the cold front is over these storms. You know what? The cold front is undercutting it. That's what it is. What the heck? That's fairly rare. The fact that your cold front is not even turning these storms and it's just undercutting it, I feel like we don't see that often. Normally, when the cold front hits, it obviously can turn the storm easily. But that's not the case. Your cold front is about to pass it. This storm is going to die out quicker than quick. Because that cold front's going to undercut it completely and just take everything with it. Because that's the cold front right there. That is. At first I thought it was, then I thought it wasn't, and now I could say it is. Because look at this. Your cold front is right here. And then it goes into your kind of funny portion of your cold front in here where your low pressure is. And then you go back to your dry line down there. Yeah, it means it's going to stay discreet, but the cold front's undercutting it, which is very weird. If the cold front just undercuts it, I mean, that's going to kill the whole risk today. If the cold front doesn't just kind of grow it upscale, I mean, it's just going to kill the whole threat today. So we'll see. But yeah, if the cold front was just 30 minutes quicker, we wouldn't have seen that intense tornado out of nowhere. We at first thought the cold front was going to be able to be quick enough to inhibit us from seeing that, but unfortunately it wasn't the case. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm curious. I'm very curious to see how the next 2 hours unfolds. I'm curious to see if that cold front undercuts our entire event and goodbye risk area. Or if these storms start riding the cold front. That cold front is undercutting it right now, so this storm should start dying out. Or maybe it just defies physics, who knows? It's happened before. Sometimes physics doesn't actually work when it comes to Mother Nature. But typically, a cold front's the ultimate say-so. So if your cold front undercuts your storm's gonna die. Tornado-wise, at least. A storm can still thrive if there's upper level instability, which doesn't really seem to be too much of a case. There definitely is some, though. You can see you do have 1,000 most unstable instability behind this, so there's a chance like the hail core survives a bit longer. Possibly. A new MCD for big hail potential. And ironically, eastern Texas and northwestern Oklahoma, as well as south central Kansas, for huge hail potential. What? Like, that's literally larger hail potential than our enhanced risk. I don't know about that. Haven't gotten the full MCD yet. Let's see. Yeah. Swaths of severe winds may be the more predominant concern if storm mergers occur and storms get undercut by the cold front. I didn't think undercutting could occur that quickly. Storms in eastern Nebraska and northern Kansas will merge into one or more Boeing segments. Should this actually occur, 75 plus mile an hour winds and EF0 to EF2 QLCS tornadoes will become the main concern. Interesting. Yeah, what's up with this? Yeah, what's up with the black MCD out here for a few tornadoes, one strong, 70 to 80 mile an hour winds, and 4-inch hail? Like, hello? I feel like that's a whole lot more confidence than what we actually have. I think we could see a supercellar too, but I doubt they become that crazy. There's a Colorado tornado warning right there. Some funny Colorado stuff. Just be in your safe spot, Burlington and surrounding areas in Colorado. Cold front's undercutting this right now. It's latched to the cold front. Question is, does it stay latched or does it get undercut? I say it probably gets undercut. I disagree quite a bit with the MCD down there, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I do think we could see one or two supercells like this that produce like 1-inch hail, 1 to 2-inch hail, 60, 70 mile an hour winds, maybe a tornado. But I extraordinarily doubt we'll see that high end of a threat. Well, we'll just wait and see what happens with this cold front. I can already tell you we're getting pretty significant damage reports from our strong tornado out here in Nebraska just moments ago. Nah, I don't think so, Brooklyn. I think if we do see stuff go crazy in Oklahoma, it's going to be western Oklahoma. It's going to be along that dry line right in here. It's going to be a very narrow corridor. Storms moving south to north. How's it going? Strange. It's going good aside from obviously the significant damage reports from this storm, but yeah, we'll keep tracking it. Haley, no, you might get some rain tomorrow morning, but your worst will be tomorrow night, not tonight. You'll get some rain tomorrow morning, and then bad storms are possible tomorrow night. I don't see a tornado on the ground right now. I'm looking at 6 different chasers. I don't see a single one, so. Benson, Minnesota. Nah, just some rain. Rain and maybe some lightning. Nothing very significant. Yeah, pretty sure that cold front is latched onto our storm still. So I'm thinking that cold front's gonna stay latched onto our cell. Let's see. Continued PDS severe for 2.75-inch hail in Timber Creek. What the heck? Yeah, right. Sure, buddy. Sure. I see a 3-inch hail report there. Where do y'all see 4 at? I see 3-inch hail there. Still stay in your safe spot for Burlington, northeastern Colorado. Be in your safe spot. Yeah. We'll see. This so far this storm's been getting undercut by the cold front. That's why it's weakened a bit. But the hail threat could definitely remain if it stays latched to the cold front. I feel like the cold front has a better chance to latch to it than it does to actually full undercut it. Okay. Another mesoanalysis here. Yeah, this storm definitely left the hot spot, so that's great news. But it's still in a good environment for a tornado. Maybe a strong one, but lower level wind shear definitely gonna hurt it. I I would, Jake. If our cold front fully undercuts this, we're looking at a full bust. It would be a huge, huge bust if that fully undercuts this storm, which I don't think it will. It shouldn't. Yeah, you could see pretty much every Wolfus runs doesn't have it getting undercut like that. So, I don't I don't think that's gonna happen. We didn't have a violent tornado. It could have been borderline violent, but it will not be rated EF4. There's no shot. Well, your intense tornado was right on the edge of the 15%, but it would be a pretty much a full blown bust if you get a cold front to undercut it. I mean, you'd be looking at little to nothing in this entire area. If the cold front fully undercut this, which again, I don't think is going to happen. I don't believe it will. It cold front should slow down. And we also have new tornado warning here. New area of rotation, so be in your safe spot there. I mean, sure. I, yeah. Um, what could keep happening is the cold front could kind of like stall out up here and then continue south down in here. This cold front could keep on going south whilst it kind of stalls in this area. We'll have to see at the next meso analysis in about 35, 40 minutes. Time means something. Let me go see. Yeah, I saw closer shots than that. That's crazy though. Man. No, I'm not surprised tomorrow went moderate. Not surprised one bit. I think it should be moderate for wind too. Yeah, we'll keep watching this. That could be a low precipitation hook there, like y'all are saying. We'll need to see what that does. I can tell you this, today's threat is not even close to as widespread as what I was thinking. Not even close. Here's the HRRR. I mean, that HRRR had this huge line already being formed. So, we'll see. Wonder if this one cluster. Y'all think this one little cluster is enough to verify 45 sig 1 wind? Because that's why we have our 45 sig wind. We might not get a whole lot more in that area. I mean, towards the beginning of its lifespan, like out here, yeah, it definitely verified this risk area. But now, I don't really think so, unless it intensifies a lot more. To me, it looks like the cold front has undercut this. But like I said, we won't fully know until one or two more mesoanalysis updates. A new considerable severe in central Kansas. Just be away from doors and windows if you're there. In Grant and surrounding areas, you'll be fine. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, though, even if the cold front does undercut this, still going to be a pretty big hail threat and a decent wind threat. And then the cold front really can't undercut this stuff in Kansas until very late because this stuff's well ahead of the cold front. Cold front shouldn't get there till like 4 hours from now. Hmm. 00 ZH might be a pretty interesting run if it correlates properly on this undercut that's happening. Iowa? Ain't nothing happening in Iowa. Where? That's not even a valid town name. I have to look on Google Maps. I ain't seen it. Oh, Adrian, Minnesota. I mean, it looks very ill to me personally. The only time this storm had an impressive looking couplet was that tight couplet that was on the southern side of a tornado warning in southeastern South Dakota like 2 hours ago. Looks very meh to me. Yeah, you want to be in your safe spot just in case, but it's just not impressive. Yeah. I vote that it got undercut. Because look at it now. So we'll see. But, I have fresh food ready. Y'all know me, man. I can't resist fresh food. So, I'm going to watch this very, very closely. I don't know which one I'd rather do if I want to go get food and come back and just keep the stream on, or if I just want to go into waiting mode to wait and see if things get worse. But yeah, I'm 50-50, but we'll see. You know what? I'll do a poll very quickly. Let you guys decide. Oh, too many characters. There you go. DAO account. That's right there. Dang. That's crazy. That's very small, too. Wow. That's wild. Gracious day. Wow. Y'all are wanting me to just come back immediately. Really? Even with a undercut and cold front. Let's see. Now, when I mean immediately, I mean like right after I'm done. I'll probably just keep stream on in that case. So, yeah. Fun fact, I'm just gonna end. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna go against you, and I'm just gonna end. So I will probably be back on later, because this stuff personally, I'm not very interested in it tornado wise right now. So I'm gonna go against the community. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will probably be back on later tonight. If not, I will definitely see y'all tomorrow for the moderate risk for severe weather tomorrow. I'll watch this stuff very, very closely, and I'll hop back on once things start getting rough again. But right now, we're just at a few radar indicated tornado warnings and a few severes. So keep a very close eye on it. Very, very close eye on it. Stay hyper weather aware. I will probably come back later. But again, if I don't, then I will be back tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. Tomorrow will probably be a longer live stream. If things go according to plan, tomorrow will be a very long live stream. But this stuff's just being undercut by the cold front right now, and I don't think there's a lot of strong tornado potential with it imminently. So I'm gonna go get me some food and prepare, and if need be, we'll come back for another 3 hours or so, like we did for that tornado outbreak in southern Mississippi the other day. So I will see y'all in tomorrow's live stream. If not, I will see you guys in a live stream later tonight. Thank you, mods from Mono Chat, and everybody for being here. Prepare for things to go crazy since I'm ending a little early. But again, I'm ending just so I could go eat. I could come back within 30 minutes. If things start going crazy, you'll see me in 30 minutes. So stay safe. Watch the severe weather. I'll see you guys either later tonight if things go crazy or tomorrow. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch the severe weather, and I'll see you guys later tonight if things get really bad. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's live stream. Thank you, mods, for Mono Chat. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye.